You carry
Okay,
on.
so we're improvising a bit. This is what happens with your transformation projects. You were planned to speak at 1:15, and you get delayed by changes, and there's some other priorities. But I have just a couple of slides. There's one word that you talk more than artificial intelligence. Anybody knows what's this word that you all use? More than artificial intelligence, more important than artificial intelligence. Which is one? Future, Cassie, people, transformation. Transformation is everywhere. And this is something that is beyond artificial intelligence. It's transformation of people, transformation of the future, transformation of organization. But we do that very, very bad. 70% of transformations fail. This is like, imagine you go to the hospital and 70% of the patients die. We're very bad at transformation. We love ideas. We love to start transformations. We love AI. We love robots. But then 90% of AI projects fail. 90%. So what are we doing wrong? And that's where I have focused my work. I want just 2 minutes to explain what's happening within your organization. So the future of work is not if you work from here or from the office or from the beach. That is very superficial. The real change that's happening in your organization. Let me ask you, do you go to work and you see always the same people and you do always a bit same work? Raise your hand who you go to work and you always are with the same people and you do similar work all the time. Well, around 80%, your job will disappear very soon, will be different, okay? We'll have robots working with you. You will have work, but it's going to be very different. All these activities that you constantly do, that's the running of your organization. It's where we spend most of the time in the past. Where we spent a bit more is in changing the organization. With artificial intelligence, what happens is it changes radically. So the day-to-day activities, operations of your business, that's going to disappear. Yeah, today in a bank, there's more IT people than bankers. Yeah, so I don't know what you're good in your company, but very soon that will be done by AI, and the rest you need to think about creativity, and Richard will be talking about all that part as well, working, continuous learning. So the future of work is transformation. I don't know if you have heard this word. I want to go back to normal. Back to normal. And people go to work just to have a normal life. Yeah, 9 to 6, that's enough. Don't change me. I don't want to change. That's finished. That's over. Imagine it happens the same at your private life. Imagine every 2 weeks you have to change. I have a call, sorry. Not important. Yeah, every 2 weeks you change the color of the window, the bathrooms, you change your kitchen every 6 weeks. There are changes constantly. That will happen in work as well. So you need to get used to work. This is not artificial intelligence, the difficult part. The difficult part that humans are going to accept, need to get used is to constant change. We're not used to constant change. That's the most difficult part, and leaders have not understood. So last slide. What are the most common challenges? One thing that I've learned with my research is that in order to learn how to transform your organization, you need to work on 3 levels. On the organization, I heard the hierarchy, very important in the orchestra. Hierarchy is not important in transformation. Transformation is done in teams. You need to work on senior leaders. These are the worst. They don't want to change. We need to change that. And then you need to work on the capability. So you need to work on the 3 parts. Last slide, and then I pass to Richard. Most of the companies you work, they're built to be good at continuous improvement, but they're not built for change. They're not. They're very hierarchical. Everything is a priority. In most of organizations, everything is a priority. Then, nothing is a priority. The leaders, they love to launch projects and then they disappear. No? So they need to start learning. I've been asked to teach a senior leader how to stop a project. They don't know how to stop it, how to kill it. Comfort zone. Leaders love comfort zone, which is the day-to-day. They hate to work in transformation because it's uncomfortable, and they need to spend more time there. This is one of the things that annoys me the more. Most of the transformations that you're doing are incremental. How can we improve 10%? How can we improve 20%? This is not transformation. Transformation is thinking exponentially. Why don't we have more transformation projects in companies? Why don't we have more Tesla? The guy of Tesla is thinking about robots, not cars. He's already in another space. Steve Jobs was thinking on phones after he launched the Macs. Where is your exponential transformation? Nowhere. And the last one, projects should not last more than 6 months. Beyond that, stop it. Yeah, so if you have a transformation initiative for 3 years, stop it immediately. It's not going to work. Not going to work. You're not going to have the same people. You cannot outsource transformation to consultants. I don't know if there's consultants here, but you need to change how you do your job. You need to tell companies how to build transformation within. I call it transformation muscle. Today, companies don't have a transformation muscle. And that's it. I think, back to you, the last point, and I think we'll connect nicely with each other. Most of the transformations that you're doing in your companies are not teams. They're just a group of people who meet 2 hours per week. The most successful transformation is when you have a team, like you had the orchestra here, and teams can be built, but you need to spend time. So every time you start a transformation, don't start with a transformation. Listen, we've never worked together. The first thing I want to do is that we feel like a team. All of you are important for this transformation. I want that you're proud of working on this transformation. When did that happen in your business? Never. Because people are always the last one, and teams even worse. Thank you. Sorry for the long chat.
No, Antonio, thank you very much. Brilliant. I'm sat here thinking to myself, this is why everyone in the world hates the English. One Englishman walks into the room, everybody has to speak English. That's why we all hate the English. I know, it's okay. I'll leave soon, I promise you. 2 quick things that really strike me, and I'm going to be a little bit provocative, if that's okay. I've noticed the event here, the event in Milan, next year's WOBI, we now have experts talking about AI. Have you noticed how many experts there are now in AI? There seem to be more experts in AI than people who aren't experts in AI anymore. Yeah. I have one question. Where were those experts 15 years ago when people were really starting to work on AI? It's a thought for you. You're now hiring experts to tell you about AI. If they were that clever, where were they 15 years ago? 15 years ago, I had lunch in Seoul in South Korea with a man called Nolan Bushnell. Nolan Bushnell was the founder of Atari. Now, he was at the leading edge of thinking. But when I met him 15 years ago, he had already sold Atari. And I said to him, Nolan, what are you working on now? And without missing a beat, he said, every dollar I have, 15 years ago, every dollar I have is being invested in AI, artificial intelligence. He said, my fear is by the time the world wakes up to it, it'll be too late. And here we are, exhausted, right? We're exhausted. Why do people find change so hard? Why does change fail so often? We're exhausted by change because we're not leading change. To most of us and most of our colleagues, when we talk about change, they don't hear change. What they hear is, you're going to make me do, as you just said so eloquently, Antonio, you're going to make me do more of what I already do, so you're going to make me work harder. You're going to give me more things to do on top of everything else I already do. And most importantly, I'm not going to be in control of that change. But here's my thinking, and this is the second controversial thing I want to say. If you want to create an organization that is really capable of driving change, then fire everyone in your team and don't employ anyone who is older than 5 years old. Now, I'm serious, because I know, right? Amazing. If you think there was a percentage. You said 70%
Yeah.
of change programs fail, right? Here's an interesting statistic for you using the same percentage. 70% of everything you learn in your lifetime, you learn before you're 5 years old. Now, I'm not talking about, oh, I know more. You think about the complexity of the first 5 years of our lives. Most of us learn to walk and talk. We learn to understand vocal intonation, facial expression. We understand body language. If we're born into a multilingual home, we pick up and learn every language spoken in our domestic environment. And my contention, and I'd love to know your thinking on this, Antonio, we've been throwing about big words for generations. Change, ooh. It's not new. We were born with it. Every child I know under 5 doesn't want to do 9 to 5. They don't even want to do 9 to 10 past 9. We've all had children, right? Do you remember the last time your toddler said, "Can I do the same thing, please?" Every day, all day? Everything they do is about curiosity.
Yeah.
Everything they do is about finding things interesting and exploring and playing and going, but what now? So there are 3 words for me that I think we need to be tighter about, and I'd love to know what your research and
Sure.
you think about this, right? Because I think 3 words are intrinsically linked. I think the ability to change is based on the ability to learn. Those 2 words are the same. We've separated them. And that's where this session comes in. Because the other ridiculous notion is that learning is finite. That you finish at 18 or 21, or when you've done an MA, or when you've done a doctorate, and then we go to work. And the only professional learning we do in the workplace is reverse engineering. How do we do what we should have been doing 15 years ago? That's why AI experts are being paid money now, because they're telling us what they should have been telling us 15 years ago. So, change is linked to learning. And at the heartbeat of all of that is curiosity. So the question I'd ask you, Antonio, in the organizations and the work you do, how do we fire curiosity in people who are drowning under the weight of just running to keep up?
I've not prepared the answer.
No.
Because we didn't practice at all. But I want to share an experiment I do with some companies that want to dare to try these new concepts and new curiosities. So I don't know who has a job title here when you in your office. Job title. I'm director. Raise your hand, please. You all have like a job.
It's like Alcoholics Anonymous, isn't
Yeah.
it? People go, no, not me. I have no job, no.
And who works in an organization with hierarchy, like there's manager, senior manager, who works in a... So this is the experiment I want that you try on Monday next week. So play for 1 week. Nobody has job descriptions. There is no hierarchy. We are all at the same level. Try that for a week. And then you'll see curiosity, chaos, but this is where we're going. We're going to organizations without hierarchies and without role description. Who wins in this organization? Who wins? Ideas win. Ideas, exponential ideas win. Because one of the problems with transformation is that we treat them like operations. The boss decides. The boss has always the best ideas. You've heard that, right? I love these meetings where you don't speak until the boss speaks. And then the boss speaks and they, oh, great speech, boss. We all align. This is fake. This is so fake. It should not be like that, right? So what has to change in order to be successful with your transformations? Co-creations. The most successful transformations happen from the bottom. There's no imposition from the top. There's no hierarchy. We're working as a team. So very simple. You want to be successful. Next week, try this experiment. Say, boss, I learned something here at BBC conference. We're not having roles for 1 week. We're all the same. We just focus on what we like, and there's no hierarchy. So you, boss, you're like us, okay? and see what happens. Please let us meet. You can find me on LinkedIn. I want to hear what happens, please. So yes, we need to shake up.
Can I share with you, just listening to that, it resonates with my favorite ever story about organizational transformation. So many of you will remember that when Steve Jobs was fired from Apple the first time, he didn't go and sulk, like I would. If I got fired, I'd go into a corner and just be miserable and hate everybody. He, in his spare time, went and created Pixar. Remember the film company Pixar?
Yeah.
And when he created Pixar, co-created Pixar, the whole founding principle of Pixar was, can we take new technology and the world's greatest experts in computer design, like Ari. Ari would be the modern day example, right? Who was on before. Can you take the world's greatest technical experts and can you put them together with the world's greatest storytellers? And can you create a new type of movie, right? Now, they knew that would be okay because they were starting as a new business. It was a new idea. Everybody was fresh. There were no rules. There were no systems. There were no ways of doing things. But Steve Jobs knew that it would be okay at first, but when everyone got into the routine of what we do and the company had history and it started to have success and suddenly you've got more stuff that you need to hold on to and protect, the ideas would start to dry up and people would slip into roles, responsibilities, but that's how it works, so that's how we do it. Jobs realized that. So what he did very early was he created something called Pixar University. And it works like this. Every employee at Pixar, under paid contracted time, has to go and explore something of personal interest. But there are 3 caveats. 1, whatever they choose to do can have nothing to do with their day job. So if they work in the accounts team, they can't go and learn how to be better at accounts or how AI can help me with accounts, right? Whatever team they work in, it has to have nothing to do with their job. 2, they have to be prepared to share their experience with anyone else in the organization, no matter where they work, no matter what their job title or what they do. And 3, it has to have a form of accreditation. So it has to have perceived value. In other words, you can't just go and surf on the beach, but you could learn to surf. You see the difference, right? And then you share. My favorite story when I was working with Pixar was this. One day, one of the creative directors was logging off her computer at lunchtime. She was hungry. She was going down to the cafeteria to buy some lunch. As she was logging off, an email came in with some of the employees in the organization who had just completed a course at Pixar University. She took half a look because she was hungry. So she logged off, she went downstairs, she was walking along the line and she got served some salad. She looked up to say thank you, and the man who served her salad has his name badge here. And she said, "Forgive me, I think I recognize your name. Have you just done something through the university?" And he smiled. And he said, "Yes, I have." And she said, "What was it you learnt to do?" He said, "I learnt to pilot a hot air balloon." Right? She said, "What was it like?" He said, "Well, forgive me, because I'm not a man of many words." He said, "But yesterday I did my solo flight to get my license." And he said, "For the first time in my life, I felt truly free." Now, she couldn't get this out of her head. And the next day, she went to the kitchens and found him chopping salad. And he said, "Would you mind coming to meet with my team? I've booked a room, and I would love you to come and meet with my team and just let them interview you about your experience." And he said, "Of course." Anyway, out of that conversation came a movie many of you will have seen called Up. The hot air balloon course cost Pixar $15,000 US. Up, at the moment, has made Pixar over $1 billion. So you tell me the power of flattening hierarchies, of not believing the ideas come from the boss. And I would add to Antonio's challenge, and the addition I would make would be, go and find the lowest paid person in your organization, buy them a coffee, and say, tell me about your life. I wonder if that's where the next idea will come from.
Love it. Thank you. And it's so much aligned to what I also help organizations is, again, we talk hierarchy, job descriptions. One of the, I think maybe the biggest issue or challenge that organizations are facing, they have way too many initiatives. I don't know, anybody can tell me how many projects, initiatives you have in your organization? Most likely no. Why? Because we love to launch transformations and everybody jumps on it, but when you have to do the hard work, nobody's there, everybody's busy. So you have more projects and transformations that you actually can do. That's a big problem. I can go to your company, there's another exercise for Monday, take note. Put all the projects that you're doing on the table, maybe you come up with 100, select just 10, okay? So just have a fight, and you need to choose 10 only. Cut by 90%, okay? It will be very interesting. I do that all the time, and you cannot imagine how many discussions happen. Why do we need to do that? Oh, because this one is strategic, it's long-term. Okay, that might we can part. This one, no, kill. And once you have 10, you can focus creating teams, execution, deliver. But this is super important. Otherwise, you are not going to transform because you have way too many initiatives today ongoing. So this is a big issue that, again, Monday would be a good time to do all these exercises and create that exponential thinking. Get that idea that is probably not coming from the senior leaders, will come from the bottom, and that will make you really transform. And by the way, it's interesting because so far we didn't talk about AI in the whole chat. So there's more than AI. AI is key, but I think we need to adapt to work in different formats, and we're not prepared. So for me, that's the bigger conclusion and where I see we're wasting time. We did that with the COVID and the pandemic. There was a sense of urgency. We knew that we had 1 or 2 weeks to transform, to prioritize, to work as a team. I think probably you never felt like working as a team as the times of the pandemics where everybody felt we need to help each other. That disappeared. I don't know why, but we seem to forget the lessons learned, the good ones. We like the bad news. We hate the good news. And we were talking about that. People don't use the lessons learned, and it's something crucial. I was working with a big company. They do solar panel plants. They do 100 projects, and they never look at the lessons learned. So they keep doing the same mistakes. How is that possible? It's not possible anymore.
I'll finish because we've been told to finish because you need to go and get some lunch and everybody's falling asleep. So my final provocative statement, and I'll leave you with it to think about over lunch. And this is my thesis. Systems and structures change nothing. People do. So stop designing systems and structures and start growing human capacity. Otherwise, you will just be snowed under by more and more change initiatives that end up in your cupboard full of rubbish ideas.
Very good.
Thank you very much. Have a great lunch.
Thank you very much.